My guess is the break to the downside happens within 2 months, if not within a 1 month period. Again, Bitcoin right now chopping sideways. Again, reminder, that is a classic in spirit of bear flag. Bear flag by the name indicates that the probabilities signal downside coming.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Chief Market Strategist Gareth Soloway predicting Bitcoin's current price movement and the unexpected inverse relationship between the US dollar and the stock market. He believes that the probabilities for Bitcoin are favoring the downside as long as the defined major top of 25,300 holds. He predicts that Bitcoin could potentially reach a target of 22,400 soon and believes that the break to the downside could happen within the next 1 to 2 months if the bear flag pattern continues to hold. Soloway also points out the relationship between the US dollar and the S&P 500, which is a warning sign of issues to come. He currently holds a fair amount of shorts on the market and expects major downside movement in the coming days. Let's get right to the interview with Gareth Soloway. If you enjoy the content we do here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into the video.
Let's start out with Bitcoin. Bitcoin remains in this channel. Notice the channel here, guys. Now, notice Bitcoin is getting a little bit of an up move today. All right, that's a weak dollar response. That's normal. All right, now my issue here is that, number one, we have a defined major top at 25,200 to 300. So that's your line in the sand. As long as that holds, you have to be on the negative side of Bitcoin. It hit resistance. It's pulling back off resistance. The other issue here is, take a look at this. Basically, we had the 4 down days in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what's going on here? Let's draw a trend line in and put it in right there. That's a bear flag, an in spirit of bear flag starting to form. So when I see this pattern, what it tells me is that probabilities are now favoring downside on Bitcoin. Even if we get a little bit of a bounce here and there, as long as this pattern holds, essentially as long as price stays inside of this channel, you have to start thinking that Bitcoin has downside. Where's downside going to take you? The low end of the channel would be your first target. That's around 22,400. If that breaks, which, by the way, upsloping channels, if you look at 1 million upsloping channels, you'll see about 80% to 90% of them eventually break to the downside. Could be a month from now, could be 6 months, doesn't matter. The point is, an upsloping trend line 80 to 90% of the time will break to the downside. My guess is the break to the downside happens within 2 months, if not within a 1 month period. Okay, so that's your Bitcoin analysis. Again, Bitcoin right now chopping sideways. Again, reminder, that is a classic in spirit of bear flag. Bear flag by the name indicates that the probabilities signal downside coming. We're going to go into the charts. This is the dollar. All right, so basically what I want to do is look at this, right? And what we can clearly see here on the US dollar chart is that we had a down day, a small up day, and then another down day today. If we flip over to the SPY chart here, what we can see is that we had the down day and then a week up day when the dollar fell. Notice how we had a red candle here. Look at this. We opened here, and by the end of the day, even with a fall in the dollar a couple days ago, we did not have much of an up day. Yesterday, same thing. The dollar was a little stronger. The markets tried to fight, and they fell back down. Today, again, the dollar is sinking, and we're seeing the markets barely catching a bid. In fact, the S&P just went negative as I'm saying this. Now, the reason why this is important is that over the past years, and I mean, I'm literally talking years, the market has had an inverse relationship with the dollar. When the dollar falls, the markets rip higher. The fact that we're not seeing that here is very problematic. That's a problem. All right. So again, to me, that's a warning sign of issues to come. You guys know I continue to hold generally a fair amount of shorts on the market, and I continue to look for downside. Doesn't mean every day is going to be down. We're going to get bounce days. But ultimately, again, this is a market that is in troubled waters. We're basically entering a phase now where, yes, inflation's coming down, but not enough to get the Fed to step on the sidelines, let alone cut rates. And that is a major problem.
Soloway notes that inflation is still a major concern, and the Fed may not step back or cut rates, which he sees as a major problem. According to his predictions, a 22% drop in the S&P 500 over the next 12 to 18 months would bring it down to around $3,000. He believes that if the S&P 500 underperforms, Bitcoin will also struggle, as it's currently considered a risk asset.
All right, I talked to you guys via a post on Twitter recently about where I expect the chart of the S&P to go. All right, over the next 12 to 18 months, I'm anticipating a drop on the S&P 500, another 22% to downside to this long-term trend. Now, you'll have big bounces along the way. Don't go and misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we're going straight there in the next 3 weeks. I'm saying that over the next 12 to 18 months, we are going to meander down to this level down here. All right. And again, that's right around 3,000 on the S&P 500. So what that means is that S&P is going to underperform. If the S&P is underperforming, you better believe that Bitcoin is going to struggle as well. It's a risk asset right now. All right. Yes, I do believe there'll be a pivot point where it becomes more like gold. That's not yet. We still have to wait for that to happen. Probably coincides with regulation and bigger money starting to feel comfortable getting in the crypto space. But bottom line is, if we head down here, assets across the board are going to go down. I do think gold would gain traction, though. Gold is a safety asset. It's also an inverse dollar play. The dollar at some point, and we're starting to see it now, starting to weaken, and the markets are not rallying. There's going to be a point where the dollar is falling, and this is the scariest of all. The dollar falls, and the markets fall too. That's the worst case scenario. That's telling you we're in a very bad recession when that's happening. And even with lower rates, and this is the key, even with lower rates, what that's telling you is that the market doesn't believe that the recession will end, meaning the Fed has lost control. As a trader, you have to remember that you're going to be wrong. The retail crowd, and a lot of it, and listen, I was like this in the beginning. And listen, for years I was like this, where I would be like, oh, that's a great spot on this trade, so, or on this stock, or on this crypto, or whatever. So I'm going to go put all the money I think I'm going to need into this trade at that point. And ultimately, I'd find out that I was wrong quite a few times. And the key was I didn't have the money because I put too much in. I didn't have enough money to maneuver and trade around the position. Okay? So again, the key is that by doing this, folks, by dollar cost averaging, by starting small, by really it's a mentality change. Stop your mind from thinking it's a no-brainer winner. And every time you take a position, assume you might be wrong. And by assuming you might be wrong, you're not going to put a ton of money in, I guarantee it. And that's going to change your whole ability to maximize profit by trading. I became a 10 times more profitable trader when I made that mentality switch. And so it's really a mindset. It's not the cocky mindset of, oh, I just want to double, triple, quadruple my account in a month. It's the mindset of, I may be wrong. I've been burned many times. So let me start small. And that actually increases your overall profitability. Very cool stuff, guys.
Soloway warns that if the dollar falls, and the markets fall as well, it would indicate that the US is in a very bad recession. He believes that even with lower rates, the market doesn't believe the recession will end, implying that the Fed has lost control over the situation. As an experienced trader, Soloway advises to adopt a mindset of assuming that they may be wrong, and puts a heavy emphasis on dollar cost averaging. By doing so, traders can avoid putting too much money into a single trade, limiting their ability to maneuver and trade around the position. By changing their mentality, they can become more profitable in the crypto market. What do you guys think of the latest prediction from Gareth Soloway, and where we're headed in the next few months? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.